6 months. Her employer did not pay her, even though she got COVID. Her husband, by the way, is retired. He's in his 60s. She's in her 50s. So there's no income coming in at all. They're living off of a 401k account that barely has 6 figures in it. How long is that gonna last? Especially nowadays. But with the living benefits, if she had the living benefits before that happened, she would have been able to take some money out, right, Jennifer? But no one sat down with her. And guess what? She also has life insurance. Imagine that. But because the agent didn't show her or didn't give her the living benefits, she can't use any of the life insurance that she has in place. How beneficial would it have been for her to have living benefits right now in the past 6 months? She could have been using the money already. Okay. Number 3, long-term care. Okay, long-term care. I'm gonna share with you guys. I'm gonna put it on the group chat later. Okay, remind me as soon as I finish the PowerPoint. There's an article that I always try to look for articles online, right? To see like any retirement, life insurance, living benefits article. And I sent it to some of my trainees. Okay, so you guys remember this, right? For the ones that I sent it to. It was this old lady that retired. She used it in her 50s, and she retired at 50 years old. By 53, she ran out of money. So she went back to work, and while she was working, she got sick. A medical issue happened, like everyone else right now, right? And the type of medical issue that she has, she couldn't work anymore. So at 53, she's running out of money, and she's also not working, and there's no Social Security, right? So she is right now struggling. I'm gonna send it to you guys right now, and I want you guys to be able to read it, okay? Long-term care nowadays, I want you guys to write this down. An average long-term care expense in all 50 states, right? And also depends on what type of care you get, all that stuff. Long-term care is about $7,000 a month. Some people aren't even earning that actively at their work right now. These are some of the things that you want to add to your presentations. You gotta find a problem and become the solution. So that's right now. Imagine when Krista, you are 65. I think you're in your 30s, right? 20s, 30s. Say that again. 31?
26.
26. I'm like, there's no way. Okay. So that means 60 won't be for another 34 years. 34 years from now, where is long-term care expenses going to be? How much is it going to be? Exactly. These are some of the things that you guys want to be able to add onto your presentation. So with the IUL, you can add long-term care if you're health licensed, right? And you can help your clients get long-term care services when they turn 65 or whenever they need long-term care. Number 4, this is brand new, especially for the ones that have been here for a while. When I got started, we didn't have the final expense added to the IUL. If you have $250,000 and up in coverage, you are going to be able to get final expense, which is the Everest, added to your policy automatically. You do not need to get qualified for it. You don't need, just as long as you hit 250,000, you get it added already. How awesome is that? And you also get all of the 4 benefits that Everest has. The 24 to 48 hour payout, the 24/7 concierge, will prep tending, you get that added to your plan. Okay? Number 5, tax-free retirement. Tax-free retirement, especially nowadays, right? When would it make sense for you to pay your taxes? When you're retired and you're a fixed income, or right now while you're still working, you can make up for it? Imagine every single person that I sit down with and they're in their 60s and they're about to retire. I asked them, hey, you don't need to share with me how much you have in your current 401k plan right now. But imagine all of that money. When you use it, it's tax-free. How awesome is that going to be? You do not have to share any penny, not a single dime with the IRS, with Uncle Sam. You can actually use it tax-free. Okay? The IUL provides that for you. So just the taxes alone. And right now, what is it? Like 30% for federal, depending on your income, and then plus state. In California, it's an additional 10%. Okay, imagine turning your tax bracket from 20 to 40% to 0 at retirement, right? Marcy, just like, yeah, heck yes, right? So that's the 5th benefit of an IUL, tax-free retirement. Number 6, protection from market volatility. Okay, for the ones that I've trained, you guys always hear me say this in the appointment. This is the story that I always use because it's a personal story of mine. Okay, my aunt, who's a registered nurse, actually was maximizing her 401k back in 2008. Okay, she was putting close to $2,000 a month into her 401k. So she was maximizing it for, I think that at that time was 19,500, right? So she was maximizing it. 2008 hit. Guess how much she lost? 6 figures. Yeah, Kimberly, 6 figures. And how long does it usually take for someone to earn a good nest egg for retirement? Years. How long does it take for you to lose it in the stock market? Just like that. So one of the greatest benefits of the IUL is the protection from the market volatility. And even with, let me see here, even with, there's a chapter in our favorite book called Retirement Miracle by Patrick Kelly, right? Look, chapter 10 is the shortest one and says, never lose money. And that's it. End of chapter, right? So if you want to do your IPD tonight, very quickly, I read 1 chapter in the Retirement Miracle, that's it. Right? So having the protection from the market volatility would have been really, really beneficial for my aunt if she was in the IUL. Thank goodness she has a niece now in the financial industry. We were able to move it back in 2017 before the pandemic started, so she never lost money again ever since. Okay. Number 7, $1 million baby account. Okay. $1 million baby account means that if you structure this for anyone 17 and below, and the younger they are, the better it is, right? I know Nina's holding up her son over there, right? You putting a small amount of money now will beat anyone who's gonna be putting away thousands of dollars later. Why? Because you started early and you are using what we call the 8th wonder of the world, compound interest. Okay, now compound interest works 2 different ways. You can either compound your interest on your debt or on your savings. If you look at how bank operates right now, and I think Krista, you mentioned last time you used to work at a bank, right? So which account has the highest interest rate? Credit cards, right? And the ones with the lowest interest rates, your savings accounts. When did that make sense, right? But in the IUL, okay, it's a lot, okay? And I'm gonna go over the 9-1. But $1 million baby account, by the way, write this down. An IUL structured for a juvenile, which means 17 and below, they always come with terminal illness rider. I actually sat down with a friend of mine last year, and she got started with a company, she registered for courses, and she even booked her exam. Unfortunately, life happened and she wasn't able to keep moving forward. but we stayed, we're friends, so we stayed friends. And she, I kept up to date with her and all that stuff. And her husband was pretty negative about, about the business and all that stuff. Guess what? I just got a text last week, and I kept following up. Every month, every other month, I said, hey, how you guys doing? You guys know what I do. Let's review what you guys have, blah, blah, blah. I'm also friends with a guy. So anyway, long story short, I just got news that their oldest daughter got diagnosed with brain cancer. So if you think that kids don't need life insurance, why is there a St. Jude's hospital? You know what I mean? So $1 million baby account works great on the cash value side, like really great if you run a $1 million baby account. But don't forget, it also comes with the life insurance and the terminal illness. So just because someone is a baby or their kids, it does not mean that they don't need life insurance anymore. I've had plenty of instances where I try to, we submit an application for a toddler and they've gotten denied. As little as what, like an asthma attack. So when is the best time to secure someone's health? The younger they are, the better. My youngest daughter, for Ivy, she was already 2 because that's how old she was when I was introduced into the company. But for Lacey, my youngest, she was born into the company. The moment that I got her Social Security when she was born in 2020, I said, Peter, here's the application. Please submit it. I even filled it out myself. Right? Because you just never know. Was approved just like that because she only had 2 weeks worth of medical records. So, $1 million baby account. Number 8. And number 8 is no age rules. Okay? Who in here wants to be able to retire when they want to instead of the IRS telling you when to retire? Right? Exactly. In a 401k, you have to wait until you're 60 if you don't want to have a penalty. But if you structure the IUL properly and you maximally fund it, you can retire whenever you want. You don't have to wait until you're 60 because you already have the cash readily available for you to use. Okay? So no age rules. You can use it anytime for any reason at any moment. Okay? Number 9. I was touching base on this. In the past 30 years, the average return of an IUL is actually 10%. 10%, that's pretty good, right? And that's already with a cap of the 15%. So when someone tells you, oh, well, I'm missing out on, whatever percentage is beyond 15%, I'll just take my money to the market. You don't have to lose money in the IUL for you to gain it. Okay, so average return of 10% in the last 30 years is 10%. Number 10, these are more for like the business owners, executive bonus plans. So if you know any business owners, they can structure the IUL and use it as an executive bonus plan. That's for another day, okay? But if you want to learn more about it, book your PIA, okay? So that's the 10 benefits of an IUL. Now let's go over the 10 benefits of Term LB, okay? I'll give you guys a few minutes to go ahead and get going on that, but a lot of it is similar, okay? Number 1, very, very first thing is affordable. Did you know majority of the people think that when it comes to Term LB, that it's gonna cost them a couple $100? Each time I play the price is right when I'm doing the Term LB, I said, how much do you think this is on a monthly basis? For someone, 35 years old, female, non-smoker, healthy for the most part, guess how much it is for $500,000? Like $30. And I break it down even further. I say, if you put $1 away under your mattress, by the end of the month, you already have $30. And you're like, oh yeah, that is easy. Yeah. How often do we spend $30 into something that didn't give us $500,000? All the time. You go out to eat, $30 gone. Right? You go down the street with the gas prices nowadays, $30 gone. Okay, it's affordable. Number 2, 3, and 4 are the living benefits. Critical, chronic, and terminal illness. And whenever someone tells you, because I get this all the time, I have the living benefits. What did I say earlier? Still review it. Because our living benefit is actually the best living benefit plan out there. I think Peter even posted it, for the ones in the base shop, Peter even posted the statistics of our term LB. It's the cheapest, most affordable, and gives you the most coverage for the amount of money you want to put away. If you guys want that, we can definitely get that posted to you guys on here. I think, Janine, if you have it from the base shop group me about the statistics of term LB, please put it in the group chat if you can. Okay. Number 5, you can convert it in the first 5 years. Did you guys know that? With your term LB, you can convert it in your first 5 years into a permanent life insurance. You can convert it into the IUL. And guess what? They will honor your age and your health rating when you started the term LB. So let's just say you got term LB back in 2017. It's 2022 now, right? So it's going to be your 5th year. And let's just say for some reason you had some illnesses that happened to you in the past 5 years after you got the term, and you said, well, I want to convert the term into an IUL, you can. And they will honor it. You just have to pay the permanent price now, right? Instead of the term, okay? Now, we have someone in the business. I'm sure you guys heard them before, Miss Terry Abalera. She is an SMD in Diamond. And we all have multiple IULs, multiple term LBs, right? Because sometimes when our leaders are on a run, we say, let's add more coverage to us, and you open up more policies. But guess what? As much as she thought she was helping out her leaders finish their run with a tiny term LB of $250,000, and it was like $30 a month or something, she actually got diagnosed with cancer, and that term LB is what saved them in the past couple of years when she was diagnosed. She had to go through surgery and therapy and all that stuff. And it paid out to her the full $250,000. Okay, so being able to convert in the next 5 years, if you have it still within the first 5 years, is a huge deal, right? Number 6, maximize your coverage. For $30, you can get $500,000. Where else can you find an account that gives you $500,000 for $30, right? Number 7, no, you don't need a new license. With the same license that you have now, you can add the living benefits. Long-term care is a whole different story. You need a health license for that. But you don't need a license to do term LBs. And number 8, this is very, very important for anyone that has a client older than 50, 60 years old, okay? They have older issue limits up to 80 years old. So you can still cover someone up to 80 years old, okay? And you can get up to $2 million of coverage for the LB. So imagine you being able to get $2 million. Knock on wood, you get sick, you have up to $2 million to use, okay? And the crazy thing is, and this is why I want you guys to be able to review policies, okay? I want you guys to be able to review policies because our term LB, you can actually use it up to 100%. Some living benefits, some companies that provide the living benefits, they don't allow you to use up to 100,000. Some are 90%, some are 50%. You have to read the fine print. Ours actually allow, obviously depending on the severity of your case, right? And what your doctor says about your diagnosis. But if it's severe, you can get up to 100% of the coverage. The maximum amount in some companies, like I said, is 50%, 25%, 90%. It all varies, okay? So I want you guys got this down, the 10 benefits, yeah? Is this good stuff? Perfect, okay. Here are some statistics that I want you guys to keep in mind, okay? Because a lot of people don't really pay attention to this. So 40% of long-term care recipients, because a lot of people say, oh, I don't need it until I'm old, right? Is actually between 18 to 64 years old. That's almost half the population, okay? And then the other 60% is anyone below 18 and above 64, okay? And check this out. 1 in 2 Americans age 65 or older will need long-term care services. That's 50% ratio. For every 2, 1 will need long-term care. And you would need about 2 to 4 years of it, which is the average length of a long-term care event. And look at that number. Almost $300,000 average cost of future long-term care services for an American turning 65 today. Krista, 65 today. What's gonna happen when you and I are 65 years old? Double that? Triple that? Oh my gosh, that almost scares me. Right, Joe? So I want you guys to keep that in mind, okay? It's not just life insurance anymore. It's being able to add the living benefits and long-term care. Now, another living benefit statistic, stroke. And by the way, if someone thinks stroke only happens to older people, it does not. It happens to everyone. Okay, I've heard so many moms, right, or even kids, right? Anytime someone goes into a surgery, they risk stroking out on the table, right? So every 40 seconds, someone suffers a stroke. 6 of 7 survive, and survivors experience loss of income, increased expenses, which often leads to increased personal debt. And that is what Mary's client's going through right now. See? So Joe works at Stanford Hospital, and she's the one that gets the calls, and she hears it all the time. So every 29 seconds, someone suffers from a coronary event, which is like a heart attack or any heart problem, right? Every 45 seconds, someone will have a stroke. People who reach the age 60 have a 40% chance of entering a nursing home. Okay, so I want you guys to know the statistics, because you gotta point it out there. When you're doing an appointment, these are some of the things that you guys want to be able to say. Okay, so you know your numbers, have something to say and have something to show. Okay, good stuff. Yes. Okay, perfect. So let me share that. Let me see. I'm gonna share that link to you guys right now about the article that I was telling you guys about, the lady. I'll share it right now. I'm gonna put it on the group chat, and I want you guys to read it. Okay, like really read it. Okay, don't just. Okay, there you go. Bookmark it, read it, learn about it, and make sure that you guys are educating your clients on it. Okay, now how do we actually structure a blended package? Okay, so let me share my screen. Let me know when it pops up onto yours. Okay, you guys see that? Perfect. So let's do a scenario right now. Let's just say, because we are all young at heart, right? Let's just take the average of everyone's age here. And let's just say we have a client that is 35 years old. 35 years old, male, right? Non-smoker, okay? And for the ones that know how to run a term LB, go onto TransAmerica mobile sales. Go ahead and pull it up. Help me out here. This is going to be an interactive training so that you guys can see how I blend someone's accounts, okay? So male, 35 years old, non-smoker. They come to you and they say, hey, Shemi, I can put away $500 per month. What can you do for me? Here we go. So when we do a blended package, we do a term LB and an IUL together. Okay, so let's just say Anyone want to run a term LB quote on me right now? Male, 35 years old, non-smoker, go on to TransAmerica mobile sales. And I'm going to run it with you guys and see if you guys, making sure you guys got it right, okay? And once you guys have the quote, put it on the group chat. So go and Google. I'll walk you guys through it. Go on Google, put in TransAmerica mobile sales. Click the first option that you see, and then run a quote. I'm gonna share my screen here. Okay. Once you run a quote, choose Trendsetter LB. Let's put random initials on here. Put the state that you're in, non-smoker male, 35, preferred plus, 500,000. Click run a quote. How much is it for 30 years? $49.02. You see that? $49.02 for 500,000. Okay? So let me show you exactly what I do with the $500 that he wants to put away. Okay. So for term LB, $500 a month, $49 per month, it's gonna go into his term. And he's gonna get $500,000 for 30 years. So what is that gonna look like? For his term LB, at age 35, until he is 65 years old, because it's 30 years, he is gonna be putting away $49 per month. Okay? And in this 30 years, from 35 until he's 65 years old, he's gonna have $500,000. But then 65 years old and on, he stops the $49 per month. He also loses the $500,000. But we also structured an IUL for him. If we use $49 from the $500 a month he wants to put away, he's left with $450 per month, correct? Yeah. So let me show you an illustration that you can run for him. And once you guys have this, you guys are gonna be able to, this one. Okay, so let me show you. 35 male, California preferred. Guideline increasing income stream solve $500,000. Premium specifications monthly, $450 a month from now until he turns 65. And he has living benefits. You see? So let me show you what it would look like when we run it. Can you guys see that okay? Check this out. Okay. So $450 a month, $500,000 initially. By the time that he turns 65, 30 years later, he would have a cash value of $320,000 and a death benefit of $820. Let me show you exactly how I show it to them. So $500,000 to start with, right? So his IUL started at 35 years old as well. And, and he decides to put away $450 a month. By the time that he turns 65, he stops putting money into it. He no longer put any money for the rest of his life, but he still has $500,000 plus the cash value of 320. So his total death benefit. So even if he doesn't have the term LB anymore, because he built the IUL correctly, he would still have 820,000 a death benefit, and he is no longer putting any more premium into this account. Okay, so imagine that. Now, in the first 30 years, knock on wood, should anything happen to him, is he gonna touch his IUL or his term LB? His term LB, exactly. So the $500,000 plus the $320,000, that's gonna stay with him for as long as he lives. And if he needed anything beyond 65 years old, his IUL still has not been touched, and he can start taking money out of there for retirement, tax-free, right? And if he needs long-term care services and living benefits, it also has that in place. Okay, hold on one second. So, so with that being said, why do we blend packages? Why do we blend some? If we only put everything in the IUL, by the way, a term LB only costs him $50, right? He still has a retirement. He still has a permanent life insurance. And should anything happen to him before 65, he doesn't have to touch his IUL. He already has something he's paying into, so he can use that $500,000 and then leave the other $820,000 later on, let it grow for more of a permanent use. And is he paying into this account extra? No. He's putting away the same amount of money. That's how you blend this package. Okay? So this is someone that wants permanent life insurance with living benefits, all the benefits that I showed you with the IUL, plus being able to have a proper protection and proper coverage before then. Okay? So having the blended package allows you to to protect your IUL. It's a supplemental, write it down. Term LB is a supplemental coverage to protect your IUL while your IUL grows in cash value. And guess what? By the time that this guy turns 65 years old, he no longer has to continue putting money in, and he still has $820,000. Pretty awesome, huh? Any questions so far? Good stuff? Okay, perfect. So let me share here. Okay, perfect. So whenever you guys are sitting down with your clients, right, find out what their goals are, find out how much they can put away comfortably, and at the same time, using that amount that they want to put away, structure it where you can provide both benefits to them. Because let's just say they didn't have the term LB. They only had the IUL. And knock on wood, they fall under that 60% where something happens, that 40% where something happens to them between the age of 18 to 64, right? Something happens to them, they're now having to use their IUL, where that IUL could have been left alone until they turn 65, right? Even if, let's just say they have $1 million of coverage in the IUL, if long-term care expenses and medical expenses are gonna go up in the future, is that really gonna be enough? No, right? And that's why you have the supplemental term LB coverage to add on to your plan. Imagine doubling your coverage. If something were to happen to them in their first 30 years, they would have the $500,000 term LB, $500,000 IUL plus the cash value. So it's a total of over $1 million. Okay, so they have something in place already by using the same amount of amount of money that they want to put away, the extra $50 double their coverage already. Pretty cool, huh? So that's what you call a blended package, right? And whenever, you know, when it comes to, especially with term, because it's so affordable, you can lock in that premium in the next 30 years. And even if you were to lose the coverage and you say, you know what, I don't want to pay for it anymore after 30 years, you would have built the IUL enough to cover you for the rest of your life. So you have to be able to look at the benefits that it can provide now, but also what benefits it can provide later. Okay? Any questions so far? Good stuff? Okay, perfect. Before we finish up over here, I do want to bring Julie Bell back up, right? She has a little segment that she's going to be adding on here. I'm super, super proud of this lady. Like I said, you know, she is becoming the top trainer in Titan, and I can't wait for her to continue growing, to continue to learn. She's so hungry to learn, by the way. She is, like earlier, I was preparing for the call. She's like, hey, I just finished an appointment on my own. Can I call you real quick? I want to debrief. Tell me what went right. Tell me what went wrong, right? She's always in the mode of learning. And I want you guys to keep this in mind. The more you learn, the more you earn, okay? So, Julie Bell, I'll pass it back to you and take it away, sister. Let's give her a round of applause, guys.
I'm not gonna talk if you're not gonna clap. Just joking. Just joking, everybody. Did everybody get something or a lot from Shemi's class, right? So this is why I'm so I'm always gonna call her. She's probably tired of me bugging her every time. Like probably I call her every day, right? Because she's one of the best. With us sitting in here in like nearly an hour, we got a lot already that we can actually pocket it all the way into every appointment that we're going through, right? So with the blended policy, see, we in here we don't just sell something, because we're not, like I always say, you're an insurance agent if you're going to sell an insurance, but you're a financial professional if you're going to be actually in structuring the whole financial information for your client, right? And now I'm actually gonna share to you guys some tips. I have three tips to actually how to structure a better, how to be better in structuring a blended portfolio, right? So first, I want you guys to actually, I don't know if you have heard about this. There's some, most of us are new. DIME, DIME, DIME. Knows, everybody knows? No? First time, right? That's okay. I'm gonna tell you now. It's not a secret in here, okay? DIME. You always need to consider, if you're structuring a blended policy, you need to consider this one: debt. How much debt does this family or this individual actually have, right? Income replacement. We always suggest, especially if this individual or if the primary provider of the family is actually be the ones to doing the policy, to always have the income replacement. 10 years is recommended, okay? And M for mortgage or monthly rent. We always need to consider that, because if they're actually having their houses, we can't have them lose their house because they're not properly protected, right? And lastly, if they have kids, education. So we always need to actually consider that, especially in doing a blended portfolio, okay? The next one is actually doing a FNA, financial needs analysis, okay? We always need to consider that. Why? Because we don't want to hurt the pockets of our clients, correct? Right? you don't want to sell them something that they can't afford, because you want, like earlier, you want to have this policy you're going to be structuring to retain over the years, right? That's also one way of you guys getting referrals from your clients, right? So do a proper financial analysis to them. That way, they will actually be only giving. You will be actually giving them the comfortable amount that they can actually put in a monthly basis or an annual basis, right? Consider everything, even how much contribution they're doing for their 401ks or any retirement accounts that they do have. And like earlier, Shami said, always review their policies if they do have already one. Okay? And lastly, I don't know if you know this, the 5 P's. Proper preparation prevents poor performance. Okay? You just don't, you always go to an appointment with an outcome. You always prepare yourself on who you're going to battle with, right? You always go into an appointment prepared. You can just go there, you have your blazer on, and you'll be like, I don't know the answer for this one. Let me just call my trainer, right? No, you can't do it. You can't do that, right? Right? So you'll be like, you be prepared. You bring your big guns in your appointment, right? So, and mostly, you always brief. If you're being trained, like Shemi, like I'm telling you, Shemi's probably tired of me calling her Shemi. This is the profile of I'm going to do this FTA today. And she'll be like, oh, okay, give me the tips, give me my tips, and I'll jot down. I'm actually on my third notebook right now. So I jot down everything. Okay, this is the points that you're going to do. What if they want variable, right? What if they don't have 401k, right? Because you have all these questions in your mind because you already have the profile. And lastly, after every appointment, this is my personal story. When I'm still learning, I'm still in training, I'm always in training, I'm always hungry to learn. One of my appointments, I came in there, I know I did something, but I know I did good, but I did not do great. And I always want to actually get out of that appointment every time as a great appointment. So it's my personally, it was a learning experience for me, but I don't want to actually I don't want actually to other people to do the same mistake that I did. Always debrief, and lastly, always brief and debrief with your mentor. Always tell them, because this is how I see it. If you're going to actually say anything that you have in mind, you will never forget about it, and it was always going to be retained in your mind, and it's always going to be an education that you will have, right? So always brief and debrief. Shemi, can you do this one? Can you debrief me? Even 10 p.m. I call her. Debrief me. I need to talk to you. Give me time. So those are the 3 tips that I have, and I hope you guys will actually bring that to the appointments that you're going to be into. Bring big guns if you're and also, lastly, it's not in my tips, but always have an outcome in every appointment that you go. Whether you want that to be client, whether you want that individual to become a recruit, always have a outcome. Okay? Anybody? And I would like to thank you so much for actually listening to my tips. It's not that huge, right? I think everybody knows it, but that's just my tips. And I want to give back the floor to my mentor, Shemi Lohera, who's already tired of me calling her for the briefing.
No, I'm not, Julie. Can we give her a round of applause? You see how hungry she's ready to learn, right? Those are definitely great tips. I hope you guys caught it, because those are exactly what we do when we're on the field, okay? So she said FNA. I know it sounds weird, right? It stands for Financial Needs Analysis. How do you find out how much your client needs? Okay, so FNA, she gave you guys 3 ways to do an FNA. Number 1 is the dime. So again, when you guys are taking your notes, make sure you do it strategically so you can teach it to others. Okay, so dime stands for letter D, debt. How much debt is your client in right now? Why? Because they need to be able to pay that off. As much as we can pass on assets, we can also pass on debts. So make sure the amount of coverage that you have covers your debt. And then she said, I is your income replacement. What is a good suggestion when it comes to replacing income? They say multiply your annual income times 10 so that at least they are covered for the next 10 years. Okay, so that's how much income that's how much coverage they should have. So for example, okay, let me break it down to you exactly how, when you're writing these things down, remember, you don't want to just say things, you want to be able to write it down so they can see it. Okay, so Mr. So-and-so, let's do your financial needs analysis, your F&A. So your dime, which is your debt. So how much in debt are you? Oh, is it just your cars? Perfect. Let's just say $50,000 for an example, okay? And then remember, there's credit cards, right? There's credit card debts nowadays, and it's actually one of the biggest debts that people have. So cars, credit cards, student loans, right? A lot of people carry student loan debts until they're like in their 60s. It's scary. And I still have friends who left nursing school with me when we all finished. They all came out with a 6-figure student loan debt. And I'm not going to tell you how many years it's been since college so you can figure out how old I am. But they haven't made a dent from that student loan debt. And it's going to continue to rise. Why? Because the money that they're putting in is just paying off the interest, not really the debt. Right, Joe? Sounds familiar? Okay. So 50,000 is very, very conservative. Okay? And then income. So let's just say someone makes $100,000 per year. Multiply that by 10 years. That means they're going to need 1 million. Okay? And then M. What's their mortgage? I'm not going to give you California mortgage, don't worry. But let's just say $500,000, right? Because I know in Texas, it's climbing up now too, right? In Washington, it's climbing up now too. So let's just say $500,000 for mortgage, okay? And if you have kids, how much in education, college, right? They say a minimum of $250,000 per kid. So if you have 2, that's an additional $500,000. So add it up, 50,000 plus $1 million plus $500,000 plus $500,000, that's $2,050,000. So just with this client alone should have $2,050,000 in coverage. That's how you do dime. Okay, that's how you do your financial needs analysis. That was a great tip, Julie. I love it. Okay. Next thing, okay, the 5 P's. Proper preparation prevents poor performance, okay? Because of HIPAA, and I don't like to announce a lot of things until it's done, right? Mary is about to get paid. Let me tell you, okay? We have a big rollover coming up, right? And it was a big account. So I got to make sure that we're properly prepared for it. I wanted to make sure that I asked the right questions to the client. So when we went into the follow-up, you guys are so lucky and spoiled that you guys are on Zoom. We used to do in-person appointments. So I can't even have a cheat sheet back then, right? But because we're on Zoom, I typed out everything that I wanted to cover with them. They were on Zoom on one side and I had my questions on the other side. Because I was properly prepared, they closed it. We are now protecting their money, and once it hits, I'll tell you how much it is. But But we're now protecting their money, and that's money that they've been working for in the past 40 years. But if I was not prepared, I didn't ask them the right question. I kind of just went in there, kind of like Julie with your jacket on, and you're like, yeah, I'm a professional, you know, but you don't know what you want out of that appointment. You don't know what you're trying to help them with. You don't know what their goals are. You know nothing, no outcome. You're not going to get anything out of it. What is the definition of an outcome? An outcome is something that you are expecting to get at the end of an event. Right? 5 P's is proper preparation prevents poor performance. So if one of the veterans like Jessica, if you can type it up on the chat box on what the 5 P's are, thank you. Yeah, so you always walk in there. For every appointment that I have, I make sure I know the profile, because once you have a profile already, that's my family. Well, once you have a profile already, you know exactly the types of questions to ask. You know exactly what stories to tell that's going to be relatable to them, right? You know exactly what their hot button is and what to touch base on. You're not going off in tangents, right? Really, proper preparation, if you guys know this, if you dissect how I do my appointments, I don't say things by accident. I always say things by design. There's always an intention on why I say certain things in an appointment, whether that be a story, whether that be a fact, whether that be a question, right? So when you're in an appointment, you're already spending an hour there. You're spending your hour, the trainee's hour, and your client's hour. Are you giving it your all, right? So proper preparation prevents poor performance. I love it, Julie. Next thing, right? I want to add you guys a bonus. When it comes to doing a good F&A too, is I've touched base on this before. You want to find out how much they can put away as well. So Dime tells you how much in coverage they need, right? But sometimes, even though they need $2 million, most people can't afford $2 million of coverage. So what type of formula or strategy do you use to find out what someone can afford? Who knows? It's a song. It's called Should, Could, Would. All right? Coulda, shoulda, woulda, right? So should stands for your age plus the number 0. So if someone is 35 years old plus the number 0, they should put away $350. You see that? So whatever your age is plus 0, that's how much you should put away. Now could, this one is 10% of your income. So if you take home $5,000 a month, right? 10% of that is $500. That one really tells you how much someone can put away because it's actually based on their income. And then would, you ask them this question. So, Mr. So-and-so, now that you know how much you should put away, and you also know how much you could put away, the would is actually what would you put away that's comfortable for you on a monthly basis, so that they already know the range that they want to put away. Okay, so Dime tells you how much they need in coverage to have to get a good financial analysis, but should, could, would tells you how much they can actually afford. Okay, so make sure that you guys use these strategies in order to be able to help your client to their maximum potential and how much they can put away, and to also get the most amount of coverage that they need for their family. Okay, is this good stuff? Yeah? Awesome. All right, perfect. Before we finish up, I just want to leave you guys with these 5 action plans. Okay? These 5 action plans is going to help you not only get familiarized on how it's an art, right? On how to structure a client's policies, but it's going to give you the experience that you need. Okay? Number 1, we need to help out everyone, right? Everyone needs our services, whether they make multiple $1 million, right? Those are actually the best clients, the ones that make a ton of money, right? Because they know the value of financial education. They want the financial education, and it's easier for them to put money away. For the ones that have been in a lot of appointments, you guys know this, right? The appointments that they actually have like a couple $1 million or their net worth is up there, right? They are the easiest appointments, believe it or not. The ones that can barely put something away and that needs to put something away, they're the hardest appointments, right? So yeah, Jennifer's like, yeah, I've been there, right? Yeah. So make sure, number one, make your list. And I challenge you guys, when you are making your list, do the activity that Peter had done for me when I was about, I want to say, 3 to 4 months in business. Okay. He called it call or delete. Who's done that before? Don, call or delete, right? So we've done it with Peter, where you do a list, right? When you go into your phone and you see how many contacts you have, if you're not going to help that person on your contact and you're going to skip them, why have them there? You know what I mean? You never, yeah, Mary's like, oh yeah, you're right. You want to help people? Why are you skipping people? So talk to everyone. By the way, Julie talks to everyone. I would be scared if you guys have someone that you haven't called.
Put it back. That's where
Because
I
she
got
won't
it.
call them. She's like, be gas.
Yeah.
Don't give a shoot. Like, she'll talk to everyone. And you know why she has that? Is because she has passion. You know, she doesn't think about what the people are gonna say. She thinks about how she could help them out. So when you're making a list, don't think about what they're gonna say. Think about, if it wasn't for me, you wouldn't get the information that I'm about to give you. Because what if someone sat down with Mary and they did the right thing years ago, like someone did, right? Trust me, you have no idea, unless you've been into so many appointments, you will get people that's gonna say, Katie, where were you 10 years ago? Where were you 15 years ago? Right? Casey, oh man, you're too late. I've been diagnosed with cancer. Right? I don't know if I can qualify still. What if someone sat down with you 5 years ago? Right? That's why Julie is on a mission right now. Right? She talks to everyone no matter what. By the way, when someone says no, she gets a reschedule, or she gets a cancellation, or they simply said, I'm not interested, stop talking to me. It's like, she didn't even hear them. It went in one ear, one the other. Trust me, like, no feelings whatsoever. It's just disconnected. Why? Because the moment that you allow your emotions to take over when you're making your list, that is you stopping yourself and talking to people. That is you stopping and hindering yourself in helping others. Because once you've stopped yourself because of the reschedule, I'm not gonna call this person because so-and-so, I'm not gonna put them on my list because of this happened, right? Then now you're stopping yourself and really making a difference out there. So make your list, and I challenge you guys, if you can do it, if you're really passionate about this, really do the call and delete. Why have them on your phone if you're not gonna help them out? Right? Number 2, your PIAs. Okay? Julie, she schedules our PIAs. She gets them with me every week. It's always scheduled. It's in the morning, right? But she does more than 3 PIAs. Mary does more than 3 PIAs. I see her just as much as I see Julie every day. You know? And it's always about something that she wants to learn. Well, how about this? You know? Well, let's look into this even more, right? You know how you guys go into an appointment with the 5 Ps? I also want you to go into your PIAs with a 5 Ps. Because you guys are spending that hour with your trainer, right? Come in with an outcome. What do I want to get out of this PIA today? what do I want to learn? Mary always comes with a laundry list of questions. And I don't say that to critique her. I say that to recognize her because she is making the most out of the hour that she's putting into WFG. She wants date night with Stan. She's not going to waste time, right? So be intentional with your PIAs. Have questions ready. Make sure that you guys know what you want to get out of it. Make sure you guys are learning in your PIAs and be specific about what you want to get out of it. Is it illustration? How do you run this, right? What is it that, when it comes to debrief, I did this appointment and this is what happened. If there's one question that I always ask Peter, no matter what milestone and what level I am in the business, I always say, how can I have done it better? Because there's always room for growth. The moment that you feel like you know everything is the moment that you stop growing and you start regressing. Always put yourself in a situation where you can grow, right? And make sure that you're asking the right questions. Okay, so in your PIAs, that's your one-on-one with your mentor, with your trainer, with your coach. So your 3 PIAs, stick to them. In the beginning, it might just be the presentations that you guys are going over because you do need to learn that, right? But as you evolve in the business and you know the presentation, you still need your PIAs. I still get my PIAs with Peter, right? We don't go over presentations anymore, but we go over other stuff that's at my level now, things that I need to learn because I'm not where he's at. You're not where you want to be. There's still a lot of people to help, right? And the better you become, the more people you can help. Okay? So make sure you guys stay on top of your 3 PIAs. Number 3, there's no point in doing PIAs if you don't go out there and do your FTAs. Julie is learning the most right now because she is actually putting herself out there, right? Actually going onto the field. Mary, do you remember in nursing school? You learned so much on campus, right? But you learned the most when you're actually in front of a patient. Because remember, this is an art. We may be in numbers, right? We may be in, illustrations and investment and percentages, but really structuring a plan for your client is going to differ from client to client. I always say, because a lot of people, you're going to run into people that says, oh, Shami, the IUL, my friend had it and they said it was the worst investment ever, or it's not what they thought it was going to be. And it was this, it was that. And I was like, an IUL is like a fingerprint. Every IUL is different from person to person. So you ask that person who structured it. So that's why you have to, what do they say? Review it. Because if it was not structured properly, even if it's an IUL, it could also be the worst account. So when it comes to the FTAs, being in the FTAs, it allows you to shadow a live appointment on how to structure IULs. Believe it or not, even though I'm not learning presentations anymore because I have that down, there are still certain IUL illustrations, term LB illustrations, blended packages, full care packages that I run by Peter. I say, this person wants to put away this much. How much should I put away in this and in this account so that they all have a maximum benefit? Okay, so in your FTAs, you are able to see more scenarios. Even if you have sat down with 50 appointments, for an example, you still haven't sat down with every possible scenario out there, right? So the more FTAs that you do, the more seasoned and the more experienced you become, okay? Number 3, that's number 3. Number 4, what you do in private will show in public. Write that down. What you do in private will show in public. What do I mean? When you turn the camera off and you get off of Zoom, when you're done with your meetings, when you're done with your PIAs, and when you're done with your FTAs, what else do you do to grow yourself? So number 4 is IPD. How are you always growing yourself, knowing about the products, what's new, what's the new statistics, what are some things that you can bring to your client? You know how, especially if you're new, right? Shami, I don't have a story to share in my appointments. There's a lot of stories out there. Look it up, right? And you guys have been given these books to read, right? Who's ordered theirs already? Who's read them? Okay, there you go. I actually got a question from a trainee, right? They read this book and they finished it, right? And they asked me, Shemi, is Patrick Kelly affiliated with WFG? And I said, no, why? Because he sounds like you. And I said, no, you're getting it wrong. I mean, thank you. I'm flattered. Thank you for the compliment. But no, I sound like him. He doesn't sound like me. I sound like him. I get all the stories, all the closing questions, all the statistics from here. And when do I read that? After all the appointments, after all the PIAs, and after all the meetings. It's great that we have the system in place where you do your 3 PIAs, 3 FTAs, and 1 meeting. And that's usually sufficient enough. But that's like the bare minimum. You know what I mean? What you do outside of all of that is what's going to make the most difference when you actually go out there on the field. Okay? So once you start reading these books, that's when you know, oh, that's where Shemi learned this. Oh, that's where Julie learned this. Oh, that's where Peter learns this, right? You can usually tell what book Peter is reading based on the stuff that he's going over on the calls, based on what he's going over when he's PIAing, right? So when it comes to number 4, your IPD, right? Outside of books, there's YouTube videos, there's articles, right? One time I got a very technical client, and I'm not very technical, right? And they asked me about, certain numbers on the IUL. When I was brand new, I was so intimidated. And they asked me about pensions, and they asked me about Roth IRAs, right? Well, guess what? I learned some stuff on the calls and with my trainer, but really what made the most difference is when I started researching those on my own. Okay, learn about pensions, learn about Roth IRA, go on YouTube. There are videos out there that actually break it down in a way that you guys understand. Okay, so IPD is super, super important because it's what's going to make the most difference out there outside of the 3 PIAs, 3 FTAs, and 1 meeting. Okay, so dedicate yourself tonight. What book are you going to read? That way you are more equipped when you're talking to someone. Mary, you know how you always say, I just want to feel confident. I just want to know what I'm saying. I just want to be able to answer questions when someone asks me. I want to be able to not just look the part with the blue jacket, but play the part and be the part, right? It really comes down to this. You got to continue educating yourself, right? And then imagine, right? If you're younger, like if you're one of the younger ones in here, or like on 2 who looks like she's 12 like me, right? Sometimes people don't believe you when you start educating them. I actually put it out there, especially when I'm with someone that's in their 60s, right? I said, I know I look 12, right? But do you care about my age or do you care about what I know? Okay? So Krista, that should be one of your things that you can pull out of your pocket when someone throws you, you're only 26. Nuh-uh. Right? So age doesn't always mean knowledge, right? That's why you're here. That's why I'm educating you. Okay? So make sure you guys are doing the IPD. And once you start doing the IPDs, the language that you speak, meaning finance, right? The vocabulary that you have, you sound more eloquent. You are looking the part, you're dressing the part, you're playing the part, you sound like the part, and now you're branding and marketing yourself as a respective financial representative. Okay, so that's number 4. Number 5, okay? Now that you guys learned what DIME, financial needs analysis, should, could, would, the 5 P's, right? Guess who is the best practice you can have that on? Yourself. Okay? Ask yourself these questions. Do you have the moral authority in educating others when it comes to finances? Do you think someone is going to listen to somebody that is not practicing what they're preaching? Right? You can only sell what you have, because you know in your heart, right, that you're not going to push something that you wouldn't want for yourself. So if you don't believe it, you don't have it, you won't sell it. And you know you'll only sell what you believe in. So my fifth one is make sure you do the dime and F and A on yourself. Do the dime, should, could, would, and give yourself a financial needs analysis. Put it down. Debt, income that I need to replace, mortgage that I need to pay off, any kids that I need to be able to prepare for their education. Do the should, could, would, right? And then bring it up to your trainer, whoever that may be. Bring it up to your mentor, bring it up to your SMD. And then let them see what you have come up with, right? And now that you have done the dime and F&A and the should, could, would on yourself, then once you've already protected yourself and you know you're putting away what you should be putting away, then you can actually go out there on the field and educate others, okay? Because at the end of the day, okay, you will feel guilty and you will not push for something that you don't believe in. Would you really sell shoes barefoot? Would you have the credibility of a financial representative if your finances are also not in order? No. Would you take advice from someone who's not taking their own advice? Absolutely not. Right? How are you going to feel when you're in an appointment and they say, Casey, I want to have what you have. What do you have? Right? Joe, I love the blended package. Did you also blend your package? I know you did, right? I'm your agent on it. I know you did. You have the full care package, actually. Not just the blended package, you have the full care package, right? But you want to make sure that when you are in, because once they ask you that question, remember, Mary? Once you ask, when someone asks you that question in an appointment, you're like, what do I say? You know? Because the moment that you say, no, I don't have that, what are they going to feel? How are they going to react to it? All of a sudden, all that credibility that you just built up in the past hour goes down the drain. Okay? So make sure that you guys do the dime, do the should, could, would, and give yourself a financial needs analysis. You guys want to know why we have multiple IULs, multiple term LBs, and multiple Everests? Everyone's always shocked when I say, oh, we have about, I want to say about 15 policies altogether between the four of us. Everyone always asks why. Well, number one, I just want to save money, right? But number two, I actually do our financial needs analysis every month. I check exactly how much expenses we've had, right? And how much we could have saved, right? I make sure that if there's something that I spent money on that I didn't need, right? That I would put that into the savings instead, put that into my IUL instead. And trust me, there's always an extra couple $100 that I can put away if I really wanted to. And that could be maximizing my IUL, you know? And doing your F&A on yourself gives you the moral authority to do that to your agents, to do that to your clients, okay? And that's more practice for you, okay? Again, it's an art, right? So good stuff? Yeah? Okay. I just want to share with you guys that I love this class tonight. I love being able to teach you guys how to blend a portfolio for your clients, because if I hadn't done this for one of my clients when I first got started, we had a client, the agent, their referral, right? So I had to do it on my own. So the agent that referred them, I sat down with the client, and they are actually already a client of the business. They just had a different agent. But guess what? They were only sold a policy. They had one IUL that they're putting, I want to say, I don't remember how much it was. He was young when he got it, so he was only putting $200 away, right? When I met him, he's already married with 3 kids. And for the ones that I've trained, you guys have heard me say this story in my appointments before. So this client has been a client of TransAmerica for a long time already. And when I sat down with him and showed him the blended portfolio on how he can maximize what he's putting away now and getting more out of what he's putting away, he said, Shami, please upgrade my policy. So he upgraded his IUL because his IUL didn't have the LB before, right? And he added the IUL with LB. And then he said, Shami, how much is it to add an additional $500,000? Because now I have 3 kids. And the $250,000 that I currently have now is not going to be enough for them. My wife is a stay-at-home mom, and if something were to happen to me, she's not going to be able to replace the income that I make. And even if she did, it's not going to be the same amount of money that I take home. Plus, I wouldn't want her to do that anyway. I would want her to focus on the kids, right? So we upgraded his IUL, added the living benefits, and added a term LB. So we gave him a blended portfolio. So he was putting a few $100s away into his IUL, and he opened up a small term LB for $40 a month. Okay, you guys remember this story when I shared this with you guys during my appointments. The month that he qualified for it, we've already delivered the policy. I get a phone call from the wife. The wife was hysterical on the other line, and she said, Shami, we're on the ER right now. And my husband just had a heart attack. By the way, this guy is in his mid-30s. Super healthy guy. When you look at him, it does not look like he would be someone who would be having a heart attack anytime soon. Okay? Very fit. Not like he was like buff or anything, but like he looks an average person, right? And when I went to their home, because it was an in-person appointment, when I went into their home, I could see, you know how when you see their home, you can tell the type of lifestyle that they have, right? We were in the kitchen table. So I was in their kitchen. I saw that he had like a meal prepping thing on his fridge, right? So I knew that he meal preps. I knew he's pretty healthy. I see fruits, vegetables, and all that stuff, right? So for the most part, he's the type of person that when you see him, he would not have a heart attack. But he had a heart attack at work, and it was stress-induced. And when he got the heart attack, he was not able to work in the next few months to recover from it. It wasn't severe, but it wasn't mild either, right? He needed to take some time off. And unfortunately, right, unfortunately, he was worried because he just qualified. So that's why she called me right away when they were in the ER. She said, Shami, I know we just put 1 month into this policy, into this portfolio. They've only paid 1 premium so far. But can we start taking money out? Because he's not going to be able to work in the next few months. I'm a stay-at-home mom. I have 3 kids. Worst case scenario, we might just use some of our savings, maybe his old 401k, or maybe, have my mom take care of the kids and help us out or whatever, right? I know, right, Mary? Like the faces that we make when we hear about these things. But thank goodness I said no. You guys can qualify for taking the money out. So we processed that claim. They were able to take some money out, and they used that money to fund for their expenses, pay off their mortgage, pay their groceries, their utilities, their bills in the next few months. Do you think when the financial stress is out, do you think he was able to recover properly? Absolutely. He was able to thrive. He wasn't even stressed about money. And because he was able to recover properly, he went back to work as if nothing happened. But without the upgrade, what if the referral, when they were referred to me and they said, oh, they already had a TransAmerica policy. And I said, oh, we won't be able to help them out. Imagine what would have happened. All those kids, they're all school-age kids, right? A stay-at-home mom, man. And if you are already stressed out financially, can you really recover from a heart attack like that? What's the likelihood of you getting it again if you were stressed out the whole time when you were recovering? They say that you could get it again in the next 10 years, right? So being able to upgrade them, by the way, they did not put away more than what they were already currently putting away. They put away the same amount of money, but instead of just putting it all in one, I allocated a small amount of premium for the term. So guess what? He did not use his IUL. His IUL, we did not touch the coverage. He still has a full $500,000 in there, and he only used his term LB. Very cool, huh? So I challenge you guys, don't be afraid of talking to people. Don't be afraid of reaching out to them, right? Always, before making that list, right? We overthink and we start thinking of what they're gonna say. Why not just go ahead and listen to what they gotta say? Even if you call them and they said no, write this down, confirm the no. Let them tell you no. Don't make the decision that it's a no for them and you making that decision for them, right? You let them tell you the no. And by the way, if someone says you no, what's gonna happen? Dave always says this to Ivy, but did you die? No. Right? If you guys know Dave, right? No, nothing happens. No, okay, great, next, right? But you wanna wash off the responsibility and the guilt and the feeling that you did not reach out to them, right? You don't want to be put in a situation where they knew that you were in the industry and you didn't help them out and something happens to them. The guilt that you carry with you for the rest of your life, that's not worth it. We are life changers, you guys. I know right now it's crazy on how a lot of things are happening, right? I'm just so glad and so blessed with the opportunity that we have because we can make unlimited income here. No one caps us, right? And at the same time, we get to help out people. Man, everyone right now that's struggling, they are needing your help. They are there actually wanting you to call them. But if we don't make the effort to give them a call and actually be there for them, how are they going to get help? All those people that was affected by COVID, who in here could have helped them out? Every single one of us. Even for me, I should be calling more people. We should be calling more people. We should, if we really want to help out people, no family left behind, no agents left behind, especially, by the way, your agents, the one that you're bringing into business, those are the people that you need to help the most. I know we say internal consumption, meaning make your agents become a client, right? At the end of the day, it's more than a promotion, right, Mary? It's more than just getting a 50% raise. It's you protecting yourself and your family. Because you know what? As much as we are able to help out a lot of clients out there, and believe it or not, the policies that you're going to be paying out is either your family or your agents. And so make sure that you don't stop sharing the crusade about out there, right? What is your purpose? This month, in our company, we have no quotas, right? We have standards, right? But we have no quotas. You're not forced to make a certain amount of sales for you to get paid here. But put that standard on yourself. Put it on a tracker. I love what Peter and Leilani always have. I don't know if you guys know this, but in our base shop, we have a tracker that says families help and lives change. And it lists a lot of people who's changing lives, right? Make it a point to have your name on that list. How many people are you changing? How many lives are you changing? How many families are you helping out? And the more of your name is put onto that list, that means that's how many people you're helping out there. So even though we don't have a quota, even though we might have some standards and that you're not obligated to do, put a standard on yourself. Ask yourself this and put this down on your notebook. How many families am I gonna help this month? Because if you go after the mission, the commission will come. But if you're always after the commission, you're never going to be able to help out people out there. Right? Because they're going to smell it, they're going to know it, they're going to feel it that you're just after the money. But if you're genuine about it, then they're going to not only become your client, but they're going to send you more people because they know exactly what it feels like to be your client. They want everyone that they care about to become your client. Right? So I challenge you guys, right? Those 5 things, we tell it to you guys every week, but I wonder who's gonna really take it seriously this week? Who's gonna finish their list and use the call or delete method? Who's gonna finish their PIAs and become, one of the best people out there when it comes to blending portfolios? Who's actually gonna take what they're learning and going out on the field? Who's gonna continue to learn and do their IPDs? And most importantly, before we help everyone out there, who's gonna help themselves and their families first by doing their own dime, FNA, and shoulda, coulda, woulda on their own, right? So with that being said, I really, really hope that you guys take it into heart what we taught you guys tonight, apply it to your own lives and to everyone that you touch out there. I really appreciate Peter and Leilani for having me teach this class. I love what we do. I feel passionate about how we help out people. I hope you guys don't see me and hear me, but I hope you feel me through the screen. And I hope you guys do the same thing for others, okay? So thank you so much. Have a great Tuesday, everyone. Have a good night, and I'll see you next week.